something. I think we're made of something.
So, let's get back into it. Select resume, yes.
Oh my god. Oh my god. There's no time left. Listen. I was lied to. He lied to me. He put me in here. It was him. He killed me. It was him. Ah!
The explosion rocked the room. Instinctively, they ducked, then stood up slowly when they realized there was no danger. No one spoke. Silence filled the room. In that silence, the electronic tone that echoed across the room sounded as loud as a gunshot. All eyes turned toward it. It had come from the device mounted next to the door. The display changed from engaged to vacant. Let's see if we can open it. 7. The mountain swallowed hard. Junpei nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. A red asterisk appeared on the LCD panel. The device had registered Junpei's bracelet number 5. His was not enough, however. At least 2 more people were needed. Junpei asked, "Which part, or which pair?" Ooh. Yo! I thought you were wearing one of those mesh tank tops at first. No, this is you probably can't see it, but it's a Power Ranger tank top thing. I just call them sleeveless shirts. I don't know what everyone else calls them. 3 and 6. Santa and June. Are we sure? Before we pick this, because we could kill someone by accident. I don't know how this game works. I do know there are multiple endings, though. I did find that out. There are multiple endings, so I'm not sure if choices we make will affect anything, or if there's just multiple endings. I'm not sure. Okay, you're sure. As long as you're sure, I can blame you. Santa and June, you think you could give me a hand here? The pun was a little too on the nose, but the mood was still grim. Oh, give me a hand here. I get it. I get it. And because I'm so pale, the camera is gonna like flash and do all kinds of weird stuff with the lights. It's just because I'm so pale. Both Santa and June lifted their left hands silently. He verified, and she followed suit. 5 plus 3 plus 6 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. Red to white, LOL. Yeah. It like messes with all the colors, but it's just because I'm so pale. I might change my shirt. Actually, let me change my shirt real quick. That should be a little bit better. Okay. Uh-oh. Where'd the sound go? Uh-oh. Oh, goodness. Here we go. Okay. No, sound. Darn it. Maybe it's just quiet right now. No, I would think it would like make a sound, but maybe you're right. Let's keep going. They fulfilled the conditions. If they were to pull the lever on the side, Junpei grappled the lever and looked back over his shoulder. They stiffened and nodded. Junpei nodded back and set his mouth in a grim line. Then he slowly lowered the lever. Yeah, no, there's no sound. Okay, I'm going to end the stream for just a split second, and then I'm going to pick it right back up and hopefully that'll fix it. We back and there's spooky sound. Okay, good. There was a metallic groan and the door slid open. A breath of air drifted out of it, carrying a stench that nearly made them gag. Junpei grimaced and put a hand over his mouth. Oh my god! Good god. Lotus and Ace shuddered. Seven grunted. Whoa, that's pretty bad. Even Santa's voice shook. He blew up. It appeared that Santa was right. The hallway on the other side of the door was splattered with chunks of torn flesh and dark red blood. Girl's voice scream! Ah! The shriek echoed across the room. It had come from June. Then her strength left her and she dropped. As Junpei turned to catch her, the door groaned shut. She crumbled to the floor. June, you okay? Junpei dropped to his knees and put his arm around her shoulder. That was when he noticed. Her whole body was feverish. She was radiating intense heat. So dramatic. It's just an exploded body, girl. It's just an exploded body, girl. What the hell? Where did this fever come from? June didn't answer. Her face looked like wax, and her whole body began to shake. Alright, let's just rest for a minute, okay? You think you can walk? She nodded weakly. Junpei lifted June to her feet and guided her to a nearby chair. Here we go. As gently as he could, he set her down in it. How are you feeling? Are you alright? She nodded, and as she did, a single, huge tear rolled down the side of her face. Why did this happen? Her voice cracked, broken by misery and grief, and choked by sobs. Why did this happen? Junpei spun around. Do any of you know what the fuck is going on here? Who's Zero? What's this nunnery game? Come on, anybody? Anything? What the hell is going on? What are we doing here? No one spoke. Heart! Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover, Seven, and Lotus. They simply stood there, 7 pairs of downcast eyes and 7 grim lines for mouths. Junpei's body shook with silent sobs. Or Jun's body, sorry. June and Junpei, too close. They slowed as the minutes ticked by, and eventually they stopped. Then suddenly, in the cold, heavy silence, that had enveloped them like a thick fog, a bell began to ring. The clock in the central hall. 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Wasting time. And then on the 10th ring, it stopped. The sound of the bell faded away into silence. It's 10 o'clock then. Ace said that each one of them had been thinking. That means it's been an hour since Zero's little announcement. Seven's deep voice echoed across the room. Fuck! I've had enough of this crap. Santa leapt to his feet, his fists clenched. How long are we gonna pussyfoot around like this? We've only got 8 hours until the time limit Zero was going on about is up. Wasted 2 hours already, shaking my head. Let's get going already. Go! Go! Santa's outburst fell on deaf ears. No one seemed to agree with him. I agree. I think we should get the heck out of here. They stared back at him, their eyes blank, and their faces tired. Finally, Lotus spoke. No, I refuse. I'm not going to end up like him. Him? You mean the ninth man? Of course. Who else? In his mind's eye, Junpei saw the corpse again. The dark, reddish-black pool of blood. The scattered pieces of flesh. Organs strewn across the floor like the blossoming of a grotesque flower. The explosion had torn through his body. The explosion that had torn through his body had been powerful. The ninth man's neck had been twisted at an odd angle. Junpei suspected the detonation had thrown him against the wall. Half of his face was crushed, and the other half was covered in blood. Most of his abdomen had been emptied, either by the explosion or by gravity. He had landed on his back, and stark white ribs jutted up from out of his chest like the legs of some sort of macabre crab? I think that's how you say that? Macabre crab? Never heard of that. Lotus is dumb. All she has said is ignorant shit. Laugh my ass off. Girl, stop. Yeah, Lotus is definitely not my favorite character. So far, my favorites are probably Ace, Santa, and June. Junpei, the main character, he's meh. He's meh. But so far, my favorites are Ace, Santa, and June. Junpei felt something flip in his stomach. I think he just screwed up. Eyebrows went up, and Santa continued. He probably set off some sort of trap, and that killed him. I'm not gonna screw up like that. I'm getting out of here alive. Whatever Snake was laughing at, Santa did not find particularly humorous. What's so goddamn funny? Oh, my apologies. You were just so very confident. I couldn't help myself. What the fuck? I think you've mistaken the situation. Huh? The ninth man's death. It had nothing to do with a trap, or at least not the sort of trap you imagine it did. Then, he broke one of Zero's rules. That was... Oh, he did break one of the rules! Macabre means disturbing and horrifying because of involvement with or depiction of death and injury. With French words, just ignore most of the letters. Oh, okay, so it was French. Okay, that explains a lot. But he did ignore one of the rules, because one of the rules was the numbers used have to be used, like they have to go through the door. So everyone that he used had to go through the door. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Quite simple if you think about it. You still don't? Alright. How about you take a moment and think back to what Zero said? Specifically, what did he say about the number of people? He said only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door, right? And after that, you've forgotten the relevant part. What did Zero say? Santa furrowed his brow in thought. Junpei thought back. Zero said that only 2 people can go through, that everyone who verified had to go. More than 6 people can go through. Everyone who verified had to go. All those who entered must leave, and all who enter must contribute. Right? I think it was something like that. Whatever it was, it means that groups of less than 3 or more than 5 can't go. That is correct. A gold star for you, Junpei. Snake inclined his head toward Junpei. The 9th man, however, broke that rule. He tried to pass through a numbered door by himself. That was why he was executed. The Zero's watching us from somewhere? Making sure we don't break any rules? Oh, I'm not so sure of that. Why not? Because the execution system is entirely automatic. You didn't notice? There's no need for him to monitor us. What do you mean? Snake looked at 7 with what could only be described as pity and sighed. So okay. Snake is obviously the most intelligent person here. We've already established that. He's a blind guy who got out of one of those rooms like we were in. And now he's just demolishing everyone's intelligence. Got bombs inside you. Very well. I see it must be me who tells you. I've waited long enough, I suppose. I had hoped Zero might spare me the trouble, but that seems increasingly unlikely. He couldn't see them, of course, but perhaps Snake sensed the confused eyes upon him. When Ace spoke, he gave words to everyone else's thought. Do you know something? Well, I know a great many things, but yes. What is it you know? Here. Snake removed a card from the pocket of his jacket. With a flourish, he presented it to Ace, who took a close look at it and spoke. Come on now. What's the point of giving me this? Is it like Braille or something? Give me that. Santa snatched the card from Ace, but his expression of disgust quickly turned to one of confusion. Huh? Excuse me. The hell is this? 7 tugged it out of Santa's hands. I see. The card went from 7 to Lotus, from Lotus to June, and finally to Junpei. He looked at it and understood. It's Braille. Oh, I knew it was Braille. This is Braille. Braille, the written language of the blind. The card was covered with small, embossed bumps. Junpei could recognize it, but he certainly couldn't read it. Sorry guys, I can't read this. Junpei handed the card back to Snake, who nodded at him with a small smirk. Okay, that was fun. What's so important about that card? Gold star. Thank you. I found it in my pocket. I can only assume it is a message from Zero. From Zero? A message? What does it say? Suddenly, everyone was crowded around Snake, desperate to hear what the message said. Santa especially looked as if as if he were about to grab hold of Snake and shake the answers from him. Snake raised his hand. Calm down now. No need to panic. You don't need to force me. I'll read it. Junpei swallowed hard and waited for him to start. He was not the only one. Presently, Snake began to read, his voice calm. His fingers glided over the tiny bumps as he spoke. This has been more of a visual novel than an escape game. Yeah. I think there's a second one. I saw something about a second one that we could probably play at some point too, and it looks like it has like movement, like you can move the characters and stuff like that. It might not be, but that's what it looked like. So we might play that one at some point too, and it's probably going to be a little bit less of a novel, but yeah, this is described as a visual novel type game. So, bracelet number 2. Since you are not blessed with sight, I shall bless you, and only you, with information. I shall tell you of the function of the red and the dead, and of the bracelets. The red is the recognition device. It will verify your number. Beside every numbered door, you will find a red. The dead is the deactivation device. It does exactly what it says. Once you have passed through the numbered door, you must use the dead to stop the detonator in your bracelet. But perhaps you are wondering, what does this detonator detonate? I am afraid this may be something of a surprise. I have placed a small bomb inside of you, and the people whom you are about to meet. You swallowed it while you were unconscious. I have no doubt that by the time you read this note, the bomb will have passed your stomach and found its way to your small intestine. In other words, you will be unable to regurgitate it. I like listening to you read though. The voice shifts are nice. Gold star for me. Gold star for sure. And I try to give people different voices, but my voice is kind of the same for everyone, so. But I try to give people different voices and stuff like that, and my reading is absolutely atrocious. But it's in part to the fact that what I'm reading is super tiny on my screen, so. But I'm also just a really bad reader, so. I'm gonna get a drink of water real quick. As I mentioned before, the bracelet on your left hand contains a detonator. Think of it as a remote fuse or timer for the bomb in your body. There is only one condition which would cause it to detonate. That condition is that you enter a numbered door. Once you have done so, the timer will activate no matter what you may be, no matter who you may be. You will have 81 seconds. If after that time the detonator has not been deactivated, it will send a signal to the bomb in your body, instructing it to explode. When you focus on reading, your draws go away, at least a little bit, lol. Yourself, darling. Oh man. I have draws? Oh goodness. Oh no. I absolutely despise my draws. Gag me. Once all the numbers have been verified by the dead, you need only pull the lever at its side, and the countdown will cease. Anyone who does not verify the number at the red will find themselves unable to verify their number at the dead. That is to say, if you should pass through a numbered door without first verifying your number at the red, in 81 seconds, you will be dead. You must also keep in mind that the numbered doors will close automatically after 9 seconds have passed. So long as the door is open, the dead will not function. You would do well to remember this. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from the ship. 2. Your heart rate reaches 0. Ooh! In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or detects that its wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. Bro! I wonder if that's going to play an effect. I hope that plays an effect. That would be such a good element. Like we have to stop our heart for a second. That would be such a good element. There is no other way to remove your bracelet. If you attempt to force it off or disable the detonator, the bomb within you will immediately explode. It's not that obvious. I like figure out accidents, and also I have the opposite of a drawl. Fast as fuck speech. My Mississippian relatives can't understand the Wisconsinite chatter. This is all the information which I can impart to you. How you choose to use it is for you to decide. If you use wisely, you can eliminate those who might be a danger to you. For a time, you will be able to control your fate. I wish you the best of luck. Oh! See how smart Snake was? He was so smart that once he realized that the 9th man had a knife and was like threatening people and stuff like that, he was like, okay, I'm gonna sit back and watch this dude explode. Or not watch him explode, but you know. Snake finished reading and carefully returned the card to his pocket. The message had been lengthy, but its meaning was clear. Only those who verify their numbers at the red could pass through the numbered doors. Teams could not increase or decrease their numbers. The Reds, Deads, and Bracelets enforced the rules. They were judge, jury, and executioner. Blind people use sighted terms. Or verbs, rather. I mean, just trying to be correct. I don't know. Okay. In defiance of Zero's suggestions, both Santa and Seven put fingers down their throats and began to gag. Bruh. Okay, so we've realized that mainly the most unintelligent people are, what's her name? Lotus, Santa, and Seven. Santa's cool as frick, but Santa's not that smart. So Santa, Lotus, and Seven are probably the most unintelligent right now. No, they really do. It's just a figure of speech for them, lol. The rest stiffened. Some touched their stomachs. Some simply stared at their bracelets. Junpei gingerly touched his stomach. There was a bomb inside his body. The thought of it made him queasy. His stomach felt oddly hollow, and his legs were weak. Why had Zero designed such a ludicrous game? Junpei looked over at the others. Alright, I'm going to ask one more time. Do any of you know anything about Zero? They were all silent. Each person waited to hear what the other would say. Finally, Santa spoke. Actually, I saw him. I saw Zero when I got grabbed. I didn't see his face, though. Son of a bitch was wearing some kind of gas mask. What the hell? Come on, guys, give me something. You know, like surprise or something. Instead, it was Santa who looked surprised. There was a moment of silence, and then everyone spoke at once. Yeah, I saw him too. Me too. He was wearing a gas mask. How the stomach acid not affect the bombs? It could have been, well, if it's like a metal bomb, then that would explain it. Like it's just like in a metal casing, that would probably explain it. Because you ain't gonna digest no metal, I'm sorry. If you swallow a nut or a bolt, that thing's going straight through you and it's gonna suck. As stories were sorted out, the truth became clear. All of their stories were the same. They had been abducted at home, at midnight. The person claiming to be Zero had worn a mask. Wait, did they all get abducted on the same night at midnight? Because if that's the case, it would be impossible. There would have to be multiple Zeros. There had been white smoke, and then each person had passed out. When they awoke, they had found themselves on D-Deck in a room with a 3-level bunk bed. That's awkward. Only 7 stories seemed to lack the detail of the others. Oh, me? Yeah, well, mine was just like the rest of yous. That was all he had said. It had occurred to Junpei at the time that it sounded somewhat strange, but he didn't press the issue. He hadn't done so because there was something that struck him as even stranger. That was the mystery of the relationship between Snake and Clover. For some reason, they had been abducted from the same room and woken up in the same room. Oh? We got a little hanky-panky going on here. Junpei looked at them thoughtfully. So, what's the deal with the two of you, anyway? It was Clover that answered. Clearly she felt she had nothing to hide. Oh, nope, just kidding. Retract that statement. We're siblings. Siblings? Yeah? Snake is my older brother, obviously. That means I'm his little sister. That really so hard to understand? Junpei was taken aback. Zero is a matchmaker. Well, LOL, oops. The others seemed just as surprised. She is correct, of course. He laid his hand on Clover's shoulder. Are you surprised? Well, yeah, but... Why? There are other people here with connections to one another. Those two, for instance. Snake pointed at Junpei and June. Oh, you mean between Junpei and me? Yes. You did say you were childhood friends, didn't you? You went to school together? Yeah. June glanced at Junpei, uncomfortable with the sudden attention. Junpei felt somewhat nervous as well, and tried to scratch his head as casually as possible. Hey, you think maybe we could figure out who Zero is this way? Yeah, you're right. You connect the dots between the victims, and that leads you to the perp. Textbook. Junpei, June, does any of this ring a bell? Ring a bell? Ring a bell? They looked at one another. And like it was staged, they both tilted their neck at the same time. Well, perhaps you went to school with the son of a multi-millionaire. A millionaire? Son? Well, someone bought this boat and set up all this. Whoever Zero is, they must be incredibly rich. Well, we can't be sure of that. To me, this seems as though it's the work of an organization, not an individual. Zero is most likely simply the representative of a large group. What sort of organization? It could be a number of things, an army perhaps, or a research group. Perhaps this is all some sort of psychological experiment. If it is, then it's a pretty fucked up experiment. I mean, come on, a guy's dead. The word dead hung in the air, heavy and ominous. The room went quiet again. I don't know who the hell this Zero asshole is, but I know for sure he's gotta be pretty fucked up in the head to do all this. If this was all one guy, then he's got some serious issues. Even with the specter of death hanging over them, their discussions continued for some time. They're wasting so much time. I love Santa and his awful language. I know Santa is really cool. He's not too intelligent, but he's really cool. In the end, however, they learned nothing. Wasting so much time. Watch the clock. Oh! That's a good, 15, 20 minutes? Jeez. By the time they finished, 1.5 of their 9 hours were gone. All they had shown for it was impatience.